That's how they did to Charlie. If Charlie was to give a game,
Brothers and sisters, we're about to open the monthly meeting of Carpenters Local 43 of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners. So Ned Lamont, another person who has a plan for Connecticut. He's running for governor. Very articulate. You know, he'll speak for himself. He knows what the issues are in Connecticut for working people. He knows that jobs are, you know, #1, and that's what we're about. And without any further ado, Ned Lamont.
Hey everybody. Hey. How you doing? Sorry to interrupt your TV viewing this morning. I'm looking for a little relaxation.
7 o'clock.
Let me just tell you one thing. George Jepson, he should be Attorney General, not just because he's got the qualifications, not just because he's going to be fighting for each and every one of you every day. He's been doing that his whole life. But also, he's got guts. And you want somebody who's willing to stand up with the guts to challenge. And I owe this guy an enormous debt of gratitude, because 4 years ago, when I took on Joe Lieberman, and let's face it, you know, I wasn't a household name in my own household. Nobody knew who I was. I just thought that Lieberman was wrong on some of the biggest issues of the day. And George stood up. He had absolutely nothing to gain from it at all. He did not win the enthusiasm of the Democratic establishment, but he stood up. And I can guarantee you, as Attorney General, he will be standing up for you every day. So he deserves your wholehearted support, and he will win. And I'd like a chance to work with him. Let me just tell you, I'm not your traditional candidate for governor. I might as well just cut to the chase, you know, right there. I borrowed some money from a People's Bank about 25 years ago. I hung out my shingle. I started up a little business in telecommunications. And I'm the most fortunate guy in the world. We have pulled cable at 250 college campuses around the country, built their telecommunications system, took on the cable TV establishment, if you will, and we beat them at their own game. And here I am, 25 years later. I've been involved in public service my whole life, but I have not been involved in politics my whole life. I was elected 4 times in my hometown. Whatever you think of it, I served in the Weicker administration, oversaw the state pension funds for 4 years, working with Frank Borges and Joe Suggs in the treasurer's office. I've been a teacher, volunteer teacher at Harding High School down in Bridgeport. Now I'm a distinguished professor at Central Connecticut State University. And so I'm not new to the world of public service, but I'm not a long-time political hand either. I'm somebody that started a business and created more than a few jobs here at a state that's dead last in the country in starting up businesses and creating jobs. And you may say, all right, what does that have to do with me? It doesn't necessarily sound like, you know, the guy I'm used to. And I would just tell you that as your governor, I'm going to be fighting for you every day. As your governor, as a business guy coming out of the business world, you're going to have somebody that says, look, we don't want jobs, we want good paying jobs. We support prevailing wage. In business community, let me tell you why you support prevailing wage. Because we compete with other companies. We want to compete by whoever can pay their people less. You want to compete with your better ideas and your better way of doing things. I like prevailing wage. It sets the standards, sets the rules, lets me know what it should be. And I support good, universal health care for each and every person. Look, I fought that battle 4 years ago over that issue as well. I know what the high cost of health care is doing to carpenters. I know what it's doing to the union. I know we got to get people back to work in order to make that happen. I support a really strong Department of Labor, where we actually enforce the rules. I know what enforcement of the rules means to, you know, the folks here in this room. I know that enforcement of the rules means, look, we're not going to get cheated by illegals and misclassifications and other games that go on there. I know how we can make that case to those here. I also make that case to the business guys. Say, oh, I don't know about a Department of Labor. Oh, that's more regulation. I say, you damn right you want a strong, firm Department of Labor, because you want to know what the rules of the road are. You want to know everybody plays by the same set of rules. And that's why you support a strong Department of Labor will reinforce these rules, make sure people have the qualifications and the paperwork necessary to do this, not playing games with the classifications. I make that case. And as a governor, I'll be able to make that case in a way that no governor has for a long time, and make sure that we have a Department of Labor that makes a difference, enforces prevailing wage, and most importantly, gets you folks back to work. I mean, as I look around the state of Connecticut, I see the projects that we are doing, and I look around, I see the parking lot down there at the Q Bridge in New Haven, and half the cars come from Connecticut, and the other half of the cars come from Massachusetts. You know, we got thousands of folks looking for work. You know, Ronald Reagan was dead wrong. You know, Ronald Reagan said, everybody's happy to lean back and clip a coupon and get their unemployment. Wrong. Everywhere I go around this state, all anybody wants to do is get a job or make sure that they keep their job. If you got a job, you're nervous that that phone rings, it's going to be somebody telling you you've lost it, or otherwise you're just waiting all day long for it. Everybody wants that opportunity. So look, I'm a big believer in Connecticut work for Connecticut workers, and I'm going to fight for that. I'm a big friend of John DeStefano. I know what he's done with PLAs down in New Haven. I know what it means to make sure that those jobs go for Connecticut people. And I'm going to be able to make that case as a governor and fight for you. And George, as you said about this, George, my door will be open. I guarantee you for the first time in a long time, you're going to have a Democratic governor who values what you guys do every day, who is a friend of labor, who knows that labor and the union has fought for the middle class, and that's when Connecticut was at its greatest, and that's how Connecticut will be at its greatest again. Making sure we have a strong middle class, putting people back to work, and fighting for your jobs. It starts with a governor whose door will be open every day. Make sure you let me know what you're thinking.
That would be a big difference, because this governor has not had any time for this union since she's been in office.
Well, this governor will. I heard George gave a little bit of the political lay of the land. I suppose I should do, you know, the same. We've got a primary on a hot day in August. I've had a primary on a hot day in August before, about 4 years ago, actually. And we're going to win that primary. We're going to win that primary, especially if each and every one of you vote. I mean, if it's a tiny little turnout and it's just the party insiders, you know, things can happen. If we have a good turnout and a lot of people vote, we win that primary, and more importantly, we're the candidate most likely to beat Tom Foley in November. And I want you to keep your eye on the ball and make sure you know what the stakes are like this November. Because this state can go one of two directions. And don't confuse me with Tom Foley. I started up a business and created jobs. Tom Foley, the Republican front-runner, if you saw that Quinnipiac poll today, he bought it. He's a Wall Street guy who bought a business. He bought it all with bank debt. Then he couldn't afford the payments. So he shut down the factory in Macon, Georgia, and put out a business, not just the factory, but the town. You know, from there he took his fees, millions of dollars of fees out of that company, and then the company, a couple years later, was plunged into bankruptcy. And it's just ironic as hell to me, this guy has a TV ad up on TV that says, I spent my life restructuring companies, and I'm going to do for Connecticut just what I did for my companies. That's a case we're ready to make. That's a case we're ready to make on behalf of each and every one of you and working families in the state of Connecticut. It's going to be a real choice we got. We are going to win this race. You're going to get your first Democratic governor in 25 years, and I'm not going to forget the folks that got me there. Thanks, George. I'm Ned Lamont, and I approve this message.